Hi everyone, welcome to the next episode of CT Gap. Today we have a very special guest with us, Leila Hyder. Before we get started, I'm just going to introduce myself, and then Terrell's going to introduce himself, and then we'll have our special guest Leila talk a little bit about her background and her experiences. So hi everyone, my name is Jessie. I'm your co-host for the CT Gap podcast as always. I'm a junior at AMU Regional High School. I'm really passionate about politics. I grew up in the New Haven area, so I saw a lot of poverty. I saw a lot of homelessness, and that really drove me to want to change the world and our state by creating something that's more equitable and safe. Terrell, do you want to introduce yourself next?
I'm Terrell Tolson. I'm the other half of this podcast, and I'm a current sophomore at Hopkins. And I'm really passionate about education and how it all relates to law and politics. And in starting this podcast, I've been so focused on the education gap that exists in Connecticut and working on closing it.
Thank you. Leila, do you want to, as our special guest, give your introduction now?
My name is Leila Hyder. I'm a senior at Hopkins as well. I am really passionate about a lot of different things. I think today we're going to be talking a lot about performing arts and theater, which is one of the things I do a lot of and that I'm very passionate about. I've been doing it for a really long time, but I also love other forms of art. I like to write, I like to sing, play guitar. I paint a lot as well. But yeah, I also have an interest in law, political science, and nonprofit work especially, which is something that I definitely want to continue in the future. So yeah.
And actually, fun fact, Leila and I met through interning together at the Attorney General's office, and that's how we kind of got her on here. And yeah, it was a great experience with her.
And Terrell and I met on our social justice trip this past summer.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone here is listening that is interested and from Connecticut, definitely recommend applying to the Attorney General's internship. It just closed recently, but next year, definitely look out for that. Okay, so like Leila said, today we're going to be mostly focusing on her experience with performing arts and being a senior overall going through the college applications process. And just before we get started, we want to make sure, we've been telling all our guests, this isn't going to be like a question answer format or an interview. We kind of just want to have a discussion and kind of go over your experiences so that everyone here can kind of learn a little bit more about what it's like being a performing arts student, or if they already are a performing arts student, how they can kind of navigate the college application process. So this will be around 45 minutes. So with that being said, Terrell, do you want to ask the first question?
Yes, so just let me read this again. How has your journey been with high school, with performing arts and the entire college admissions journey? Just give a brief introduction to who you are.
Yeah, so I'll start with the first part of the question. My journey with theater in high school. So I started doing theater when I was in 5th grade. And I did it first with recreational theater in my town for kids, youth programs in the summer. And then I would do the productions at school. I would do summer camps. And then I did my middle school shows. Frozen Junior got canceled because of COVID, so I never got to do that. Thank God. No offense. But I thought that as I was going through, elementary to middle school, I thought I was kind of growing out of it. I just don't think I was connecting to it as much as I used to enjoy it when I was younger. But when COVID hit, I don't know, I watched a lot of movies. I think maybe that was it. I watched a lot of movies, and then, I got to Hopkins, and initially I thought that I was gonna just not do a lot of theater. I wanted to try sports, especially because our school has an athletic requirement for all 3 seasons.
Oh, no.
So, and my brother played a lot of sports too, and I think I just wanted to try something new in high school. But I did one ensemble theater class my freshman year. I will say, like, just I think I really wanted to focus on my school, my grades and stuff, because I came from a public school, right? I went to schools in Cheshire. I went to Dodd Middle School, so like I knew going to a private school coming from there would be a bit difficult for me. But yeah, I did ensemble theater. I made friends in that class, but I didn't think I was really good, and I don't think my teacher was that good either. Also because I was really shy. I was super shy. Like I I didn't commit fully in that class because I don't know, I was just nervous. It was a new school, new people, new environment. And like I don't know, my whole life I've just been around the same people, so it was the first time I was in a new school and in like a different town, right? So I did sports the whole year. I did volleyball, basketball, tennis. It was fun. But yeah, I did try to immerse myself in other things. I did, I joined the a cappella group. I auditioned for that. I joined a bunch of clubs, and I still tried to maintain the other like artistic aspects in my life, even while doing sports. And all of those are in Cheshire. So I still tried to have my ties with my school and like my friends in New Haven, but all my friends back home and all, you know, the extracurriculars I did at home too. So I did art class, music class, and when I had time, my freshman year, I did do like dance classes from time to time, but like that didn't last very long. But I did audition for the musical. It was an original musical my freshman year partially because my mom was telling me, she was like, Leila, you should just try. There's no harm in trying, right? And that's kind of like been my motto throughout high school. I'll go into it more. It's okay that I'm like, you know, talking all this much, right? Because like,
of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah, this episode is centered on you. Talk however much you want.
Yeah. Okay. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I auditioned for this musical. It was called Killing Time. Original musical by some of the faculty in the drama department at my school. And I didn't get in. Like, I didn't. Yeah. I checked the list of the people who got in or got callbacks, and they only took the only freshmen they took were boys. And I was like, okay, I get it, right? There's a lot of girls who do theater, but also I was just like, I knew Hopkins had a very strong drama department, because what drew me to Hopkins partially was I saw Into the Woods when I was in like 7th grade or something, when my brother was a freshman, and I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? It was very, very talented. And you know, initially I wanted to go to an arts high school. Like, I thought that was what I wanted to do. So I am glad that I am still grateful to this day that I chose Hopkins because of all the arts that I've got to do there. Anyways, that's a side note. So I thought it was a sign. I was like, okay, I'm not cut out for this, especially not here. That's okay. You know, I'll do. So I did digital photography my second term of my freshman year, because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do theater. I'll do like art, like a different kind of art, right? So I did that. It was a lot of fun. But then the girls in my a cappella group were talking about the summer production, and that they were like, Lily, you should audition. Like, it doesn't matter if you didn't get into the musical. Like, you know, just try it, right? Just try it. And I thought, you know what? Why not? So this was, I think, it was sometime in May. It was like almost the end of school, 2 weeks before school ended. It was a student-directed show as well. So I auditioned for the show with one of the more experienced people in HDA, Hopkins Drama Association, who's in my a cappella group. And, you know, I just do my best. I don't try to do anything too dramatic, right? I just, you know. And it was, yeah, I thought it went fine. I didn't think much of it. And then after school ends, like 2 weeks after school ends, it's, I get an email saying that, like, I was cast, and I was in the ensemble, right? And I was like, thank you. Like, this is my first show. I'm excited. And it was just myself and one other freshman, I think, that were like in the ensemble. But even if I wasn't cast, I knew that I didn't need to be in it, because I'd already signed up for another like summer production at the Hartford stage, right? I was already doing theater there for that summer. But then after I respond yes, I think it was a couple days later, I get an email from the director. He's a rising senior. He was like, he asked me to play, it was a Midsummer Night's Dream. Sorry, I don't know if I ever said that. The play was a Midsummer Night's Dream. So I'd never done Shakespeare before, but that's my favorite Shakespeare play. I read it when I was little because my dad got me like a youth child version of all like a bunch of Shakespeare plays. It was the only one I could understand. Like granted I was like 10, right? Like who's gonna read like a kid's version of Hamlet? Like what? Like that was out of the book, that was the only one I read. Like I only
I'm reading Hamlet right now. It's the language is so hard to decipher.
No, but imagine that, but like for kids. I don't even know. I don't even know if I still have it. Like I should give it a read. I feel like that would be really interesting. But anyways, I get an email saying that he asked me to play Flute, this character Flute, right? He's one of the mechanicals, a bigger role, and he did say, so would you actually be interested in playing this character? One of the initial person I casted is no longer able to do it, and I think you have what it takes, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes, thank you so much. But I was like so surprised because like one of the seniors was supposed to be playing this character, and I'm a freshman. I was just like, I guess now a sophomore if I'm in the summer between freshman and sophomore year. But I said yes, and then when rehearsals started, I was so intimidated because the entire cast was like all like mostly seniors, some juniors, and like sophomores, but like I was nervous. And I think people doubted me at first because I was so shy. I was so shy. Like, you know, I tried talking to the people I know, the girls in my acapella group that were cast. I talked to them, but I thought all of them were so cool. Like all of them were so talented. And even when I, you know, did the line, like I was so afraid. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to look stupid. Like I need to do well. And you know, I felt like, you know, they didn't think I had what it took at first because I was so shy, especially like when doing the lines or doing the blocking. But I don't know when it was. At some point, something just switched. I think it's just like as time went on, I got to know everybody better. And what it was, I think it clicked like the tech week. So it was, the show went on the first week of school. So like, which is a lot of stress, like Terrell, you know, like it was it was Terrell, were you here at J School?
No, I came freshman year.
Oh, okay. So it was a little bit before tech week, like late August. Our first week of school was like after Labor Day weekend, so first week of September. And I don't know what it was. I just started doing I started improvising a little bit, not the lines, because it's like hard to improvise Shakespeare lines. Like you can't really do that. But I was improvising like some of my blocking, and like I was just taking, once I had the lines down pat, and I think that's one thing, they were impressed by how quick I did. Well, I don't want to say they were, like if anybody watches this and they weren't impressed, like no, but I tried to memorize the lines faster. Like I wanted to do. Yeah. For
the non-theater folks like myself, could you explain what the term blocking means?
Oh, blocking. Right. Sorry, guys. Okay.
No, you're fine.
Blocking is just your movements, where you have to move, where you have to be on stage, like when you have to, like at what line do you have to move, at what line do I make this gesture. But what I really liked about this, like my first production, it was interesting that it was student directed. Because of that, it just didn't feel like, I mean, obviously our director is our director and you have to listen to what he says, but it was very collaborative. Like if I had a question, like he always said, you know, try new things, I want to see this. Like it was never like you do this and that's how you stick with it. Like there was a lot of freedom in that, and it was very collaborative, which I liked. But yeah, that's what blocking is.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And what I think what did it for me was one of the other seniors, Flute plays So in A Midsummer Night's Dream, all the mechanicals put on a play for like Titania. I can't remember all the names. And Flute is a man, but has to play a woman. So like it was weird for me because I had to I made my voice deeper to sound like a guy, and like but then to play the woman, I talked really high. It was just like really dramatic. Like I was just but what I did, I was just super dramatic. In the actual show, there's horrible pictures of me. I can like try to find one on my phone, but I had red lipstick painted on my cheeks, the most outrageous outfit, like a tutu, like lipstick smeared all over, like it was. Anyways, I think they got the message that I was like playing a girl.
Could you do your impression of a man for
please?
us?
No, I can't. Wait, I can. I'll try to find one.
I'm really curious now.
But let me I'll keep talking as I try to find it. But basically, what switched for me, what made me really comfortable was when I did start improvising. I just at one of the lines, the senior that I was acting alongside, his character was dead. So like I slapped his face to like, because I'm supposed to try to wake him up, but he didn't. And I didn't mean to slap him that hard, but I did. Wait, here it is. Okay, wait. So look at this ridiculous outfit. Look at this. Can you see that?
Yes. Oh my god.
Wait. And then I'm gonna play a little clip, where I scream like dead. Oh god.
I don't think we can hear it.
That's okay. Wait.
Girl, can you hear me?
You'll hear it in a sec because I scream.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear that? You can hear the scream, right?
Yeah.
So that was that. Anyways, after that point, and they saw that like, oh, like I actually can be funny on stage. Like I think that was it. No, but I was also surprised because I'd never played a comedic character before.
Yeah.
And all those people just made me really comfortable, and I wasn't afraid. That was the one thing I noticed when I like performed that production. I just didn't have any nerves. I was just having so much fun. So yeah, that was my first show, and after that, by the end of it, I just felt so like, oh my gosh, these seniors know me, and like now like I just felt really welcomed by them. And HDA is a great community. I love the theater community at my school. We have a lot of traditions and a lot of things that we pass on, and especially for freshmen, they do a lot of stuff to make them welcomed, including like first show jars where they write little notes. I still have mine somewhere, but
oh, that's so sweet.
I kept it from that show. But from that point, I was like, okay, finally, I think, you know what, I changed my mind. Like I think I do want to do theater here. So like I invited some of my friends from outside of school, some of my friends from Hopkins who had never seen me act before, my parents too, my family, and they were surprised because I had a bigger part, and like they were expecting me and like and they were surprised because like I was playing a funny character in Shakespeare, and also I just think people were surprised because they knew that this role was like for one of the seniors. But the director, he pulled me aside after the show and he said, like, I know I originally casted this guy to be your character, but honestly, I have no regrets. Like, I don't think like anybody could have done it better than you. Like, this was the right casting choice after watching you, and that was what really made me happy. But yeah, so my sophomore year, we put on the show the first week of school. I didn't do the fall show. I wanted to continue doing volleyball, and I'm glad I did. I had a great time that season with my team. And then every year we have winter one acts, and I auditioned for that, and those were also student directed, right? So I got to work with some of the same people I did in the summer, and oh my gosh, those one acts were really funny. They were Monty Python one acts, and I got to play a guy, like a soldier with one arm, and again I played a really crazy, like, I had to scream a lot in that one, and I got pulled out on a stretcher. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
And I had a lot of fun playing these funny characters because I'd never gotten the chance to before, and also, like, it's just like I think there was just so much confidence I had when playing somebody funny, because I just, transformed. I was so shy at first.
Yeah.
And then I felt more comfortable on stage, and because I was having so much fun, I just didn't care, like, oh, you know what I mean? It's not the same as playing something really dramatic or heavy, because it was just so much fun, you know what I mean? And I think that's, I really had a good time with that. And then winter musical was Les Miserables, which is like an iconic show. I only watched the movie, like, I didn't know much about it. I take French, like, I was like, oh, like, I'll be fine. It's like 3 hours long, and it's all singing, no line.
Wow, oh my gosh.
So I auditioned for that, and I get one of the students, so a small part, but that show, without a doubt, is the best show I've ever been in. I have so much love for that it was just everything about that show, it was so professional. It was like our cast was casted perfectly. There were so many talented people. We had a giant ensemble. It was really special. It was really, really special. And I got to work really closely with a lot of different people. I got to know a director who I hadn't gotten to work with before. I got to know her better. And it was that show that was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to keep doing this. Like, I really, really enjoy this. Because there were just so many heavy moments in the show where, like, I just had to learn to stay in the moment and really listen to what was going on stage, but, like, also feel it. Like, I wasn't Leila anymore. I was in France, holding a rifle, fighting for my people. We had, like, actual rifles. Like, well, they were fake, but, like, you know what I mean? It's just, and I got to stand at the top of the barricade. We had, like, a whole barricade. It was kind of scary being that high up, but it was, guys, that show was so good.
I remember, like, when I was applying to Hopkins, like, seeing on the website, like, pictures for the show. Impressed by the lighting and everything.
Yes, and we won an award for it. I'll get into that. Oh my god, you guys have, like, more questions. I'm taking so long. Anyways, so yes, Les Mis was an amazing experience. But during Les Mis, one of the HDA heads, it was a student, a senior head, posted on our Google Classroom about a monologue competition. I think I told you about this, Jessie, right? I think I did. I might have. Anyways, a monologue competition that was hosted by Long Wharf Theater here in New Haven. And it's the True Colors Next Narrative monologue competition, which has been around for a couple years now, but I think it was inspired or originally based on the August Wilson monologue competition, which has been going on for, like, many years. There's a documentary on Netflix about the August Wilson competition. But I saw that on Classroom, and I was like, wait. And I saw that you could audition with any monologue. And I read more about what this competition was about, and it was about amplifying the voices of actors of color, and it was all the monologues in the competition were all original monologues written that year, or it was written in 2021 because it was 2022 at that time. All written by Black and brown artists, playwrights. So I was like, I talked to my mom. I was like, should I do this? And she was like, try, right? My mom is always telling me to try. So I did auditioned. I did a self-tape, had never done one before. Submitted it, didn't think anything of it. I convinced my friend to do it with me. I think we were the only ones from our school who like auditioned. Both of us got in. It was the regional competition first, right? So this was still like when hybrid COVID learning was a thing, so we only got to do workshops on Zoom, but honestly it was a lot easier because this during Les Mis it was so busy, and I was still doing like art, music, like I was still so busy. Also, I did basketball like halfway, like during the musical. It was like hard. I was doing way too much. And I had a job, but I like stopped working there at one point. I was really busy. Don't do what I did. I'm gonna go into that when I start talking about college, actually. Anyways, but yeah, so I got in, and then I got in when I auditioned in January, got in February, I think, and then for the next sorry, I think I auditioned in sorry, yeah. So the Zoom, the timing doesn't matter. The Zoom workshops were every Monday, or twice a week actually, for like an hour. It was for about a month and a half, because the regional competition was in March, right after spring break. Almost like 2 years ago at this time. It would be March. It's the 21st today. It was like on a Monday, I remember. Yeah, March 20. So next Monday, it would have been like 2 years ago that day. But yeah, so for all those weeks, I came to these Zooms. We got to work with professional actors, mentors who have acted in the industry. They were both Black and brown artists, and most of the people who got in were like Latina or Black, or there were some white people, but I was the only Asian, and I'm South Asian. So picking the monologues was the hardest part, right? They had us perform our monologues, sometimes in breakout groups, sometimes in front of everybody. That was so scary. Like that was like doing it on Zoom too, and like they were very strict about the memorization, but they had us just learn so much about like space and timing, because it was a timed monologue competition. So it's not as natural as you would want acting to be, because acting is supposed to come from like, you know what I mean? Because you have 2 minutes to do a monologue that's like a page and a half mine was a page and a half. It's hard, right? But I picked a monologue that was called Eat by Candace Jones. Do I have it on my desktop? No, I don't. But I have it memorized still, because because I've done it so many times. But it's about a young mother. I think she's Black, but a young mother who works at a gun factory, who is with her son. He's probably a young teenager, begging him to eat because he's refusing to eat his dinner because he's on a like a hunger strike against gun violence, because there was a school shooting, like either at his school or a friend's school, and he's just not eating. And it's a really deep, powerful, moving monologue. The reason I chose it is the other monologues were great as well. It's just a lot of them were about identity, being queer, being Black, being Latina. Some of them were about like adolescence and like being but those ones had a lot of slang and a lot of African American vernacular English, and mine monologue did too. But it's just this one struck a chord in me. It was just the most moving for me, because like I just thought anybody could do it, but especially because me being South Asian, like I think mothers always, at least in my family, they have such a strong connection to their kids, and like food is such an important part of like my culture, and especially me being Muslim, like I have to fast during Ramadan. It's Ramadan right now, and at that time March, it was Ramadan was about to start, so there were times when I was practicing these monologues and I would actually be fasting. So like some of the getting into character was like I was actually hungry, even though like I was telling my son to eat, right? But like that really helped with the backstory, and that's a lot of what I learned is like backstory. What does this monologue mean to me? What does this character mean to me, and how can I connect it to my own life? And I think learning this from like young Black and brown mentors was really important for me, because I never had a teacher that wasn't white, like in terms of in the drama department, right, I'd never gotten to work in that capacity before, so that really helped me. Was it like really stressful and a lot of work? Yes, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And I practiced it so much. Like I literally did it so much. I would have to do the Zooms at school sometimes. But it was a great experience. I did it. I was in Miami on spring break. I did it on spring break too. And then when we performed it at Long Wharf, I went second. I think it was a random order. We had to do a slate, like you say your name, your age, and what monologue you're doing. And then I just went. I was like, okay, I know if I go over time or I'm gonna get points deducted. If I miss any words, if I change any words, I'm gonna get points deducted. Right? There are all these rules. It's like hard to act under those conditions, but it's a competition, right? I didn't focus on who was in the audience. I don't remember. I think I might have like not worn my contacts so I wouldn't physically see the people in the audience.
Yeah.
But I had my blocking set. I came up with my own blocking. My mentors helped me over Zoom, but they had never seen it like in person, right? But I just did it. I don't know, something clicked in me. I just stayed in character. I just tried not to think of anything else, what was going on. I just stayed in the moment. And we did a lot of breathing exercises, things to help us stay grounded. And I'll never forget like the moment after I finish a scene and I stand up and I say thank you, just like there was like silence and then applause, and I was like if it just felt really good. Like I knew that this was one of the best runs of my performance that I'd ever done. And I think a lot of times actors just feel like, they at least for me, I know I overthink my performances sometimes. Like I think, oh well, this night was better than that night, and that I just, I didn't think about that. I just thought like, wow, I think I really did my best today, and I think it paid off. But whatever the outcome, I just try not to think of it. I just watched the other performances. I'm glad I got it over with like at the start.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the competition, at the end of the night, they announced the winners. They did third place and then second and first. And then third place gets $200. Second place gets $400. First place gets $600. But first and second place winners get to go to nationals in New York with people from all over the country. And they're the winners. So they announced the third place winner, and then I was just like, and then they announced the second place winner, and it was me. And I will that moment I will never forget. I will never forget. Like I was just like looking down at the floor. I was just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I didn't think it was gonna be me. I did not think it was gonna be me. And then like when she says my name, like my heart, I'm just like, and then like I just immediately see my family stand up, and then I'm just like, holy, like wait, I can't stop. I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then they gave me the little plaque or the paper, and I just, it was wow. And then my friend Julia, who I met in this competition, we became friends through this, and now she's like one of my really closest friends. She got first place, and like I was just so happy for her. We gave each other a hug, like, and we were like, oh my god, we get to go to New York together. Like it was just such a surreal experience. But I didn't even know that like my two drama teachers, directors from school were there. Like I didn't know. And I was like, oh, because like the director I worked with in Les Mis, she knew me. She saw me in the one act. She saw me in the summer show, and she saw me in Les Mis, but she never got to see me like really act, right? This was my first time showing a side of my acting that nobody's seen before, right? Because they saw me be really funny. They saw me, be serious in an ensemble kind of role. But they never saw me be like, and this was different.
The
this
spot.
was very real. Yeah. This was very real acting. Like the monologue, the reason why I like this monologue so much is because it sounded so normal. It sounded like so real. Like I could have this conversation with my family. You know what I mean? Like it was just so real. And it was just so well, I don't want to say it was easy for me. It was like it took a lot of work, but it just in the moment, once I was on stage, it just felt like freeing. You know what I mean? It's after that point, I got recognition from the school. They made an announcement that like, I won this competition, second place, and I had 1 month, all of April, to prepare for the nationals, which was like May 1st, and all of April was Ramadan. I was fasting, so doing that monologue like every single week, I was like, damn, like I thought I was gonna be done with it. No, but like in a good way. Like I was like, I know this monologue so much that I feel like I'm doing it too much now. So that was the hard part for me, was like trying not to overdo it, trying not to but I knew that I had to change some things up because the Apollo stage, it was in Harlem, Apollo Theater, historic theater. It's much bigger. I have to project. It's the same rules that apply. You can change the start and end time of the monologue though. You don't have to start but I kept it as is. But the only thing you're allowed to have is a chair. That's it. You can either stand or have a chair. But your mic is going to be standing in front of you. So if you use the chair, or if you squat, because in my monologue, I was squatting. I used the space. Everybody else kind of did their standing. I had a set, right? I was washing my hands at one point. Then, I there was a table. I, scooped the food on. I had a whole kind of thing. And I think in the regional competition in Connecticut, I think that's what set me apart from the other contestants. But for my monologue, you kind of had to have that. I guess you didn't have to, but in my interpretation, I just thought it was necessary, right? But yeah, so for all of April that year, I worked with Julia and the same two mentors, just to keep working on my monologue. And that was really stressful, I'm not gonna lie. I was just freaking out. I was like, oh my god, I'm going in. It was a lot. But when we did nationals, it was an all paid trip. I didn't have to pay anything. It was all paid for. And then I go to nationals, and there's people from all the country, Seattle, Atlanta, somewhere in the Midwest, I forget where, but just all over. I think there was 22 from each state, and there was 20 of us, I think. Yeah, there were 20 of us, and everybody was either Black or Latino. There were 2 Latino people, I think. The rest were Black, and then I was the only Asian. So yeah, representation. So that monologue competition was the best experience I've ever had. We got to see a show. We saw the show called For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide. It's based on a collection of short stories, I think, or poems. Or no, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't want to speak when I'm incorrect. But it was so good. And it was also a cast of all Black and brown women. And we got to meet other theater professionals. We got to meet Kenny, what's his name? I think the guy who runs the whole the True Colors competition. I think it's in Atlanta. And we met students from NYU who talked about their experience acting in college. we got to meet the cast of For Colored Girls afterwards, which was really cool. They let us like
That's
go into
awesome.
the city, like shop, and like but the best part though was like I just met a really great group of girls. Like I just I have diverse, like pretty diverse friends, I'd say, at my school, but it's just like they were so sweet, and like and they were just, even though like I was the only, all of them were black, like they were just so kind to me and so accepting of me, and like I just felt so welcomed. Um and they were just the best. I love them. And we just got to get to know everybody really well. And the competition, the whole trip was 3 days. Like, and that was it. Like we got to know everybody in such a short time. But in those time periods, we did still like have to do work, like work on our monologues.
Yeah.
We got to see the stage.
Yeah.
We got to work in like black box theaters, like tiny rehearsal spaces to kind of work on our blocking. We took the subway a lot. What else? There was just a lot. We got to go to Stardust Diner. If you don't know what that is, it's like in New York, on in Times Square, near where all the like Broadway shows are, and like off Broadway or Broadway performers or like people who were trying to get on Broadway work there and sing there while you eat and while they serve you. It's amazing. But yeah, and then I didn't fast at all that weekend, but the day that the monologue competition was on, the national one, was Eid. And Eid is like celebrates the end of Ramadan. So like, my parents, which I really love them for, like they came all the way to New York to watch me perform, like after having their own Eid parties and Eid celebrations, and like they were really sweet. Like, oh my gosh, like the friends that I met there, and like my friend Julia and my mentor, like they knew it was Eid for me, so like they kind of celebrated with me. They were like, oh, Eid, they said Eid Mubarak to me, which is like the term to say, and like we ate dates together. My mom had packed us some dates,
Sweet.
which kind of a staple, yeah. So I just felt really welcomed, and like also it was nice that like I still got to have this cultural aspect and like religious aspect with me on this trip. So the day of the competition, it was a lot of stress. I was really scared. Being on that stage is incredible. Oh my God. Like legends have been on that stage. Like just standing there. There's this tree trunk that you get to like touch it was incredible. And then we got to see the backstage, all the people who have signed their name, who have performed there. I will never forget that experience.
Did you end up signing your name there?
No, they didn't let us sign it. You have to be like an
Oh.
Oh. I will show you. I'm gonna show you. So this is not even the full wall. This is just one of them. It's just like it's like a door. Like I took so many pictures of it. Like it's incredible. And the view of the stage is just, it's amazing. This is the rock, or not the rock, the tree trunk right here. I don't know if you can see. It's on the side of the stage. And we performed. We had like a really quick dress rehearsal, or like a run through. We didn't get to run through our monologues. We just had to say our slate and then like our start and end post so they could adjust the lighting. But like mine had the most movement because so that was what was freaking me out. Was like, oh my gosh, there's only one other person using a chair other than me, and like I was 6th or something, and like going off stage to get the chair, it just took a lot of time, but I think it went well. Performing on that stage, like it was incredible. Like I also couldn't see the audience, which helped me. Like the lights were too blinding, but it was just the most grand. It was just so big. Like I was like, never would I've ever thought that I would ever perform on like a stage in New York at like 16, the Apollo. Like it was just so surreal.
That's so impressive.
And I thank you. And myself and Julia, we didn't win or anything, or the first or second or third, or there were like 5 places, but the 3 first, they got money as well. But I'm just so grateful for that whole experience. I learned so much, and like I've never been in like an acting community that was like entirely not white. You know what I mean? Especially
Yes.
in like an industry that is so predominantly white and it's so, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
have loved performing. Like I've always been kind of like, perform for my family, sang a lot, like, and I just love watching movies so much. And my mom and I have it. This is a side note. I've watched award shows with my mom. Like that's our kind of our thing. I was gonna write my college essay about that, but I didn't.
I was gonna say that would have been a great college essay.
Yeah, so it's been our thing for a really long time, and just when you see that there's not many people who look like you that are nominated, especially South Asian, I feel like South Asian representation, we still kind of have a long way to go. I love seeing East Asian representation and like Black and Latina representation, but and now we have like Mean Girls. I see like this girl who's like Avantika, who's like what, a year older than me, and like I'm so happy
Yes.
that.
I know.
But like, you know what I mean? And I'm just grateful that like I talked to my mentor a lot about this. I'm just like, me being South Asian in this space that's predominant, even though they are also people of color like me, but they're Black and brown. I just feel like these monologues mean different things to them than it does for me, right? Because I'm not the same race as them. But well, I can't like put it into words exactly, but what he said was really moving. He said like, your story is just as important, right? And we don't see enough of that. You're the only, South Asian representation here, but that story is just as important, and you have a different interpretation. And that is just what really struck a chord in me, is because like, Terrell, like Hopkins is diverse, but it's not as diverse as it could be or should be, right? Hopkins is a private school, and it's even coming from my public school, right? Like it was majority white, right? Like I can count on like one hand, and there were probably 3 or 4 other South Asian people in my school, right? Like it's just, I don't think people realize how important it is to have representation, whether if you're an athlete, if you're an actor, if you're a singer, if whatever you're interested in. It's just like when you're growing up in this day and age, like, and you don't see people who look like you, who are like super successful in their dream and in the thing that they really want to do, it just like it can make you feel discouraged. It can make you feel like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But that experience just really taught me, like, you know what, no, like I can do this. I am capable. And at that point I was like, I need to keep doing this. Like I have to, you know what I mean? So after that competition, like I was like, this was a lot, so I'm gonna take a break. I did the summer show for a school. It was also student directed. I got my first like really big role in a Hopkins production. And it was also a comedy, a lot of fun. It was also like student written, which was really cool. And then my junior year, last year, I did do volleyball again in the fall, but I get an email like around when school starts, and it's from a woman who works at Schubert Theater here in New Haven. And she emails me and she's like, hi Leila. It was to myself and Julia, I think. Yeah. Hi Leila and Julia, I saw your monologue competitions at the Long Wharf Theater, and I watched the live stream in Harlem at the Apollo, and was blown away by your performances. I want to invite you guys to perform at the Schubert in November for a program I'm organizing called Elm City's Finest. And it was a collection of actors, dancers, singers. I don't think there was poets. There was no, I don't know what to sing. There was one band as well, right? And she said it was a paid gig. Oh wait, I didn't mention
Mhm.
from the national competition at Apollo, it was like the guy who was announcing the awards, he was so nice. He said that everybody gets a $200 scholarship even if they didn't win. And I was like, that was a
Oh,
sign. Anyway,
okay,
but
okay.
That's really
so the
Get the
LSU
bag.
paid gig. And I was like, paid gig? Like I've never had a paid acting gig before. What? Like, but like it was very professional, like because of the monologue competition, like I in New York, like the national one, I got to like they took a headshot for me. Like I got all these
Wow.
things, experiences that like actual actors get. Like I just got a rundown on how professional theater, especially in New York, works. So for this Schubert one, like I used my headshot from that competition. I also used it for college too, like when I had an audition.
No, don't worry. When we took the Attorney General picture,
Yeah.
all of my LinkedIn photos,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
was just
Oh my god, I showed you, right? It's like from the
no,
yeah.
it was like it was such a high quality camera. Like, why not
I was
use
like,
it?
yeah, that's what it's from. But like, I was like, that's me sophomore year, and I'm a senior, and I still use this shot picture. Should probably get it retaken, but it's just such a good quality picture that I didn't. Anyways, Schubert, right? So I say yes, obviously, and like they send me like a W-9, like a freaking tax, like I don't even know. They asked me like I had to sign all these social media like releases, and like I had to do the same thing for the both monologue competitions, the regional and the national. And I was like, dang, like I've never had to sign all like this stuff before, but they asked me to like, you know, promote on social media, but I don't have a public account, so I still did it, but with my private account. They posted me on their Instagram. For Schubert did. Also Longworth did too as well, I think. Anyways, but that's besides the point. Schubert posted us on Instagram, and like, you know, I promoted it. I told people on my Instagram story like buy tickets, with the link in my bio. And I prepared for that mostly on my own. I told my mentors about it. One of my mentors actually was also invited to perform. One of my mentors from the Connecticut Regional. And I told my acting teachers at school, the directors, about it, and they helped me as well. But at this point, I was like, bro, like I thought I was done with this monologue. Like it's haunting me. Like I've done it too many times at this point. Like that's why I took a break in the summer. Like I was like, okay, I did it for 2-3 months in the winter. Did it for another like month and a half in the spring. And now I'm doing it for another month in the fall after like taking a summer break to revisit it, relearn it, relearn the blocking. That was so difficult. It was so difficult. But this one, I had the freedom of taking my time. I kept the same blocking. I still had the chair, but this time I could actually not do it in 2 minutes or less.
Yeah.
And I had the freedom to like change the words, but I also had the words so locked in that I didn't really change it that much. Otherwise it would mess me up. So Julie and I both did our monologues at the Schubert, and I'd never been backstage at the Schubert. Schubert is also such a grand stage. I was like dang, like, and also
Wow.
like I've grown up seeing shows at the Schubert, like
it's like a full circle moment.
Yes, I was like, I was really soaking it all in, especially because when we got there, just sitting on that stage, running through it with nobody around, I was like, dang. But what was great about this one is like I also couldn't see anything. Like it helped. One thing about me is like I don't like to see. Like I really don't. But yeah, so that was a great experience. My mom thinks that was my best run at the Schubert, but it was a great ending of my monologue journey. And I got paid, which is nice. So yeah, at that point I was like, this monologue journey, like been about a year, like got me. Like if I didn't do that if I didn't try my sophomore year, like my mom told me to,
Mhm.
Would I have got like would I have gotten all this? No, right? Like the reason why I was asked to perform at the Schubert is because she saw me, right? So
Mhm.
I'd always underestimated, that kind of the power of just, putting yourself out there because you
Yeah.
never know who's watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and I'm still in contact with the woman who like hired us.
Mhm.
And she's like put me in contact with other artists for other things I've organized at school, like the art gallery the Dippo Art Gallery Terrell, like for Black
Yeah.
History Month. Like the reason why I was able to find all those artists is because I contacted her, right? So it's like those connections, the people I met at that competition, Julia, like my friend who won with, like she's like my, and we might be going to the same college. I'm not gonna say which one because this is being but we both got in. I will tell you guys, like I'll tell you guys now and you can cut it out, but we both
Okay.
we both got into Yale and we're both probably going there, but I'm going to commit by probably next week. I just want to wait for one more school.
Yes.
But yes.
So I'm assuming you got over your concerns last time we talked about you.
Yes. Yes.
Wait, Jesse, you're wearing the
And-
hoodie.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, represent. Like Jesse knows all the deets, like everything I talk about the internship. Anyways, so let's keep going. So yeah, my junior year, I do the musical Mamma Mia. It was a fun musical. It was just fun. I didn't think too much about that one. I cared, obviously. I did the one act too. Junior, I was really trying to grind and focus on school and college. So like after the Schubert thing in November, I was just like, okay, now I'm gonna lock in. I still did the one act and the musical. I had like a supporting role, a smaller part. Was fine with that. It was a lot of fun. And then the spring show was Macbeth, and I was like, okay, like it's Macbeth. Like I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Like Macbeth is like one of my favorite Shakespeare. It is, yeah, I love it.
We just finished reading that in AP Lit.
And I
It was-
we just finished reading that.
Are you reading it right now, Terrell?
You just like finished it.
Oh, you just finished it. Okay. Wait. Actually, we'll talk after. And I audition and I get Lady Macbeth. But I was like, I was not expecting that. But I was like, and oh my goodness, I literally locked in for that show. Like I was so stressed at that show because I was like, we didn't have that much time. The cast, like, she told us to start getting memorized over spring break, and we only had a month to put on the like 4 weeks to put on the show. We had last week of March and then just April. Was put on the last week of April. We literally had a month to put on the show. I'm gonna show you my character analysis. One thing about the monologue competition that I learned, the paper that I have my monologue, I have it somewhere. It is so, because I used it for so many months because all the times I performed it, it's so crinkled, but the analysis, the whole page is covered in writing. The margins, in between the lines, it's highlighted. It's like falling apart. I learned character analysis, and then for Macbeth, like I was ready. I knew what to do. Let me show you. Where is it?
I was there opening night.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Opening night was like the one night that I like messed up one of my lines. Oh wait, here it is. I don't know if you could see. My friend, like, do you see that paper? Hold on. Do you see how much writing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's so much.
Oh.
So
I
I went all out. I was really nervous because like dramatic Shakespeare is really hard. Like and all of the actors in it were very talented, but it's just like this was my first lead role, like lead at Hopkins at least.
Yeah.
And it's different from, the monologue competition. This is Shakespeare, and playing such a mature character like Lady Macbeth, as a teenager was hard, and she's so like physical. It was like a Terrell
Like
saw it. It's a
I know what you mean.
physical role. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of like sexual tension between her and Macbeth, and like that was something that I'd never done before, like a stage kiss or anything like that. There was stage fighting too in Macbeth. Like I didn't have to do any of it. I had to faint on stage though. That was kind of fun. But oh my god, I got to work with fake blood. I had like a lot of quick costume changes, fake like daggers. It was one thing that I really enjoyed about Macbeth was just like I got to work really closely with. Can you hear my mom?
No.
She's watching.
You're good.
She's watching.
You're good. You're good.
You're good.
One thing I just got to work really close with my director and just other. I got to work closely with other like of my friends in HDA that I haven't got to work this closely in this capacity because like I've never gotten this big of a role before. I had a lot of self-doubt though, I'm not gonna lie, throughout this process because like she's such a demanding character and like I got a bigger role than some of the seniors, which is like kind of what they do in the spring shows. They try to pass it on to because the seniors are about to graduate. And especially like being a senior in your spring, you don't really want all that work, right? Like you really don't.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but that spring, I had a lot of fun last year in the spring, but it's just like that on top of like all my APs. Oh my God, Jessie, I applied to so many internships. Last year, I'm not even kidding. Like I was so locked in. Like I applied to like I think 12 things, theater things, Attorney General's office, screenwriting things. What else? Like Iris, like Ashley's. I applied to like summer camp too. Like, oh my God, I don't know what I was doing, but I was also taking, APs and like, oof, that on top of
Macbeth. Do that right now.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And also like, it's just. Oh, everybody in HDA, like at least who I've gone to the pleasure of working with, especially in that show, just worked with such professionalism and like such, like it was just felt so professional. Everybody was always locked in character. Everybody, it was just very serious. And I think going from, Mamma Mia and the one acts and these, I was back in like comedic kind of mindset. That shift was like, okay, you know what I mean? But one thing I think I forgot to say earlier was that like I'm really grateful for Lady Macbeth because I thought after my sophomore year that I was being typecast. Like I didn't want to be typecast as a funny part, right? Especially because I do have a lower voice as a girl and like, I play sports and like I can dress super feminine and like I can appear really feminine, but like if I put my hair up and I wear like I make my voice lower, like I can play a guy too, right? So I didn't want to be typecast as like somebody who's only playing male comedic roles because there's not a lot of guys who do theater, you know what I mean? Even though I would be happy to play those roles, I didn't want to be stuck in that. And I think doing that monologue competition helped me move forward from that. But that's why I'm really grateful for Lady Macbeth, is that even though she's such like a powerhouse of a woman, like or in some interpretation she is the man in that play. She is more manly than Macbeth. She's fearless. She tells him what to do. She's the one driving him to, I don't want to spoil Macbeth for people who haven't read it or seen it, but what I enjoyed was that like I still tapped into my like femininity and like my own self in that character. Like I felt mature, but like, I felt really, I loved my costume. I felt really pretty in it. Like I had my hair curled, and another hard part was it was also Ramadan during so like fasting when playing that was hard, but I made it work. And it was a hard show, I'm not gonna lie. I'm grateful for it. I had fun. I learned a lot. I did learn a lot. One thing that I'm still working on that I really had to learn on that was just like trust my instincts and just stay grounded, like kind of what I did in the monologue competition. Like, don't doubt myself. Stop doubting myself. Just trust the people I'm on stage with. And trust myself. That's one thing that and even if I make a mistake, I think I'm my biggest critic, right? Like, you're your biggest critic. I just wish I went easier on myself then. I was just stressed out with school, and like, I loved my character. I loved the play. I just really wanted it to be one of my best performances. But I think it was, because moving forward, after Macbeth, the Halo nominations come out. I completely forgot to talk about that. But Les Mis from sophomore year, we won a Halo award for best musical. So I tell you it was a good musical. It was a good musical. Like, we won. But I got nominated last year for best actress in a classical play, and I was like, bro, like my little girl, my little self watching the Oscars feels like so, like, I was just really happy that I was recognized and grateful. And I didn't win, but I am so happy for, two of my friends who were in the show won for best supporting actress, best actor, and we won best classical play. So just being in that play in general was just a great experience. And yeah, after Macbeth though, bro, like, I was like, okay, that was really hard. I think this summer I was thinking about directing like the student production like I had been in past years that summer, but I didn't, because I thought I needed a break. And I worked with Jessie. I met Jessie at the Attorney General's office. And I have no regrets about my decision. I am so grateful that I did something new. I tried something new, and that, like, it was the first time since 5th grade that I didn't do acting in the summer. Like, which is crazy. I'm not thinking about that. Like, last year was the first time I didn't do acting in the summer. I did a screenwriting thing with my school, a young writer's apprenticeship program. I wrote, Jessie knows. I wrote
yes
the first acting screenplay that I never invited like all of you guys back for, which
it's
it happened so fast. I like completely forgot to tell you guys, but I'm still in touch with the interns now, which is great. I did a bunch of different stuff this summer, but I've been taking so much time that I don't want to like dive into all of that. But because like I know that Jessie, you probably, I'm spending so much time talking about everything. Anyways, I did a bunch of different stuff this summer. I did Attorney General's office internship. I volunteered for Iris, nonprofit. It was a summer learning program, so we taught immigrant and refugee kids from like Afghanistan, Ukraine, Iran, Iraq, like how to read and write in English, basically summer school. And I did another script analysis thing with it was a work study program with Long Wharf, right? So I still have like keep in touch with the Long Wharf people, like ever since that competition. It's great. They've been such great like mentors and people to me. And then I got a job at Ashley's. That was great. I still work there now. And I also moved this summer. I live in New Haven now.
I remember that.
Yep.
I remember.
Yes, and oh my God, Terrell, we did the social justice trip.
Yes.
That was a highlight period. I love that. That was a lot of fun, especially when we were in the rain at that creepy summer.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, and then biggest part of my summer, college. Anyways, that took a really long time, but now is there like another question related to college that you guys have other than like the process?
No.
No?
Bro.
Okay.
Really?
All right.
Not really. Just go on. We love hearing your story.
Everybody always like talks about like what they wish people told them going into college. Like I always asked when I was a sophomore, and like when I got to know these upperclassmen in my drama department more, like, and last year I would always ask seniors, I'm like, oh my gosh, like what APs did you take? What class, like what advice do you have for me? And like I I think the biggest thing is that like you are your own person and you make your own decisions. When you start asking everybody for their opinion, everybody for their input, like it's just so much. And like you don't make decisions based off of other people. You make decisions based off yourself. And everybody says like, oh, make decisions with here, not here, right? Like that's sometimes my dad tells me that because like I'm a sensitive person and like anyways, that's a side note. But I think for college, like it's both. It really is both. And Hopkins is a hard. Even during COVID, I'm surprised. Like I thought I adjusted pretty well to Hopkins considering all the circumstances. I made a lot of friends. I loved the people at Hopkins more than my other school. And like, yes, some of the classes were hard, but like I worked really hard and I asked for extra help when I needed it. And like my teachers saw that and they acknowledged it. And like, yeah, I'm grateful with like the classes I've taken at Hopkins, but I will say like my freshman year, I was placed in like the same math class I had took in 8th grade, right? Like I didn't place well enough in the placement exam. The French too, like I was placed in the same French I took in 8th grade. And that was a little bit discouraging because I knew I was smart enough to do this. The only thing is that I don't test well. I did not do well on my test to get into like private schools, high schools, and like I did not do well on my ACT.
I just took my SAT today, so definitely relate.
I had tutors for both, but that's just one thing about me. Like I did study hard. I could have studied harder, I'm not gonna lie. Last year I did not spend enough time studying for the ACT, but thank God for test optional, right? But
I mean, for your year, I don't know about my year.
Oh right, I forgot. Oh my God, it's digital. SAT is digital, right? Oh my God, I wouldn't be able to do that. But some people just don't test well, right? So yeah, going into Hopkins, like I was placed in the same classes, and like in those math and French classes, there were people that were younger than me, and you know, I still did really well in those classes, but a lot of times, like at Hopkins, at Terrell, I'm sure you can attest to this, like people, all they care about is like how smart you are in these classes, how well you do, how high you are, especially when you're younger, especially like people stop caring once you're like a junior, but like freshman, sophomore year, like, oh, I'm in pre-calc as of, you know, it's like there's a sophomore in my pre-calc class, like, and it's, you know, whatever, right? But well, I like that's the one thing, just focus on yourself. I knew where my strong suits were. I knew I was really strong. I mean, I did well in math, even though it was not my favorite subject. I knew my strong suits were in history and English, and like my essays were really good throughout high school. Knock on wood, bro. I still have more to write. But like I just, you know, blocked out what other people were doing. I just focused on myself, focused on my own grades, and like I tried to take classes that I actually enjoy. I wish honestly that I took more that I enjoy, more electives, more, you know, instead of like taking A-push as a senior, just, you know what I mean? I could have taken an elective instead, but I took A-push.
A-push as a senior?
I know, because last year I couldn't do it. I had a really hard teacher. I'm not going to say his name, but Terrell probably knows who I'm talking about. And no, it was just a lot of work. It was a lot of reading, and I was taking AP Environmental Science, like other APs, and I knew how much I would have on my plate. Last year I took one AP, APES, and AP Art History the second term. Not that that matters, but that's the thing. I know it's different for people who go to public school, but like my strongest suits lied in like my extracurriculars. And like honestly, for college apps, like in maintaining my grades in these good classes, like I took classes I enjoyed. I took I took an art every semester, every year. I took 2 arts every year, except my sophomore year I took social justice as an elective. And I loved every minute of it. Yes. Did that mean I had less free time? Yes. Did that mean like I could have had a free block in the day to do homework? Yes. But I just enjoy taking classes that like I wouldn't have the opportunity to otherwise. And honestly, like I wish I got to take other history electives or other science, you know what I mean? And I know it's not like that for everybody. I do know that, but it's just it's about balance. That's the main thing, right? Like I didn't want to take a science this year, but I took physics. So regular physics, not AP. Can't handle that. Anyways,
taking that next year, so wish me luck.
Best of luck. But anyways, about college. So like I'm only taking 1 AP this year, push. And I was stressing out about that. I was like, oh, I feel like I don't have enough APs. Like I had to talk a lot with my college counselor. I was emailing her throughout the summer. And like college essays, that's the main thing, right? So my junior year, you have to take a class that's called writing semester, where you basically write college essays throughout. You just learn different things. And I'm not going to go too much into that class because I know I'm taking forever to like go through everything, but basically what I liked about my teacher in particular was that like for homework we just got to do free journal entries, just whatever we wanted to write about, or sometimes he'd give us prompts. But whenever we did those, or sometimes for our actual essays, he'd anonymously put them on the board, like they wouldn't have a name. But he put mine up on the board like I think 6 times throughout the semester. He put mine up the most.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my god, it's because he thinks my writing is trash. But I actually like now looking back, I think I know it's because like he enjoyed reading it, but he saw like there was more potential to grow, and I think he wanted the other people to see it too. But part of it, the very first like day of class that we had this assignment, he put mine up, but mine was about the model competition, so everybody knew it was about me. So like that was, but getting over that fear of like, you know, random strangers are gonna be reading my college essay. It's like like learning just how to like let go and just be vulnerable when I'm writing. That's what that class taught me, and I really appreciate that. But I had multiple drafts of college essays because of that class. I had one about like the Oscars, like I was telling you, one about how I ask a lot of questions. Jessie, you know this. Because like even and then I basically built at the end of the summer off of that one. And I wrote about how I'm a very curious person, and like, you know, my nickname was questioning the question mark when I was in elementary school by one of my friends. And I expanded that onto like my identity and my culture. I didn't talk about acting at all. I just talked about, you know, myself, because, you know, people know I'm South Asian, but they don't know I'm Bangladeshi. They don't know that like I'm bilingual. They don't know that I'm Muslim because I don't wear a headscarf unless, you know, I talk about the fact that I'm Muslim, right? So I just talked about different aspects of identity. I have not gone back to look at my college essay since like September. I don't really want to. But I spent a lot of time rewriting it. It took me a while. I did start my college essay, like writing them in late July, like early August. It's good to get it done early. I got mine done at a good time. I think I was done editing it by late September, I think. And I had multiple people proofread it, but don't have too many people proofread your essays, because like I said before, too many opinions. Just like if you trust your teacher's judgment, your English teacher, your college counselor, whoever you ask to read it, trust their judgment. Now, for like college process, visiting colleges, I did that with my brother my sophomore year, like when he was looking at colleges, saw what I liked, saw what I didn't like. He liked big schools, like really big schools, like schools that you see play on March Madness, like those kinds of schools. And I wasn't opposed to them, but they were too big for me. And I thought I wanted a small, tiny liberal arts college in the middle of nowhere. Like that's what I thought I wanted. Toured some last year in the spring. They were too in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, too small. I could have and should have done more college research. I learned more by just talking to other people, talking to people older than me who like graduated already about how they're like in college, or where they applied, talking to people in my grade, although like don't talk to people in your grade about college, just like keep it to yourself. Unless you're just talking to like your friends who aren't applying to the same schools as you, like then you can talk about it. I talked a lot to
I do have to let you know that I do have to leave soon.
Okay, I'm gonna hurry up.
You're fine, you're completely fine. No,
Okay,
you're good.
All right, wait, how much time do I have?
Would you be able to finish up in like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I got you. Yes, I got
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you for telling me. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm like taking forever.
No, you're so good.
Oh, this is really good.
This is
I think okay, what was I saying? Yeah, I could have researched more, and I do regret that. I could have done more research, but honestly, like college is stressful. The college process is stressful, and I'm a very big procrastinator, and like I procrastinated my whole summer, but also I was really busy. I did like so much stuff this past summer, and honestly, like I didn't even go into all the stuff I did during high school. I mean, I'd gone through most of it, but like my Common App, my activities section, my additional info section was like 2 pages long. My additional info section, like I did so much stuff in high school, guys. Like so much. Like I can share with you guys my resume after this. Like,
definitely share that with me.
That's the thing, is that like, and you know, sometimes people like say don't do so much, and looking back, I think yes, I did too much, but I didn't go to everything I did being like I'm doing this for college. In fact, none of them I did like doing it for college. I took the classes I did. Well, some of the APs I took, I like, you know, because like, right, nobody wants to, but like but the extracurriculars I did, the art classes I took at school, like I did them because I was genuinely interested in them. My mom was like, Leila, you're so stressed out, like why don't you like drop something? And you're I was like, there were times where I did have to stop working for a little bit, or I did have to take a break from my art class that is in Cheshire, right? Or like my music classes that are in Cheshire. There were times that I did have to take breaks from those to focus on other stuff. But it's just, I wouldn't have done all that if I didn't really enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like all those arts and all the extracurriculars I do, that's what keeps me grounded. And like, I try to do everything. I love doing multiple different things. Like even during the musical that I did this year, like I did intramural basketball. I love playing sports. I'm trying out for crew this year. Like I'm taking a break from theater. Like I think having a balance, having a versatile like playing field, it's nice, but also balance is important, and prioritizing. You can't do everything. That's something I had to learn, especially after this summer, like knowing how much stuff I did. You can't do everything, and there's not enough hours in the day to do everything. And especially during college applications, don't compare yourself to other people. And if you feel like you haven't been doing enough, if you like look at all the stuff you've done and you still think you haven't done enough, I guarantee you it's just you in your head telling you, like, you know what I mean? It's
really
you, Jessie, I'm looking at you. Because like, and take what other advice people give you with a grain of salt, especially including your college counselor. I love my college counselor. She was great. But at the end of the day, it's your decision where you want to go to college. You know yourself best, but your mind will change, right? My list, people think you need to know where you're going to college like your junior year. Your list will change as you go along. Nobody's list is set. And you will see. Like, I didn't know all the, like, I had a list of schools that I liked. Like, I had a spreadsheet with their, like, due date or when I was going to try to get them done, like, you know, size, acceptance rate. And that list changed. Like, I added schools, I dropped schools after, like, as I was applying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing that really helped me, though, is that, like, you need to decide early on how many schools you want to do early and how many you want to do regular decision. If you do want to like ED somewhere and like bind yourself to a school, you need to decide that early on, right? I mean, most people probably know they have a dream school, right? But financial aid is also something important. Like I did some scholarship applications and honors college applications. Those take time. But main thing is that you can recycle your supplemental paragraphs. Those take time.
Yes.
Oh my God. Don't overthink them. Have one or two people proofread them. But the main thing is you want to speak from the heart. If you tour school, if you research a school, if you talk to somebody from that school, you don't want to sound like everybody else, but at the same time, you don't want to be writing it thinking like, I wonder what the school wants to hear, right? You really don't want to do that. And like, I'm not gonna lie, there were some schools that I added super last minute. I was like, you know what? I want to add this school because I am applying to my Reach School's regular decision. I want to apply to a Reach School early action, and I'm adding the school even though I haven't toured it. You know, I threw an info session in there, so they had demonstrated interest. But like, I'm not gonna lie, like I got deferred from that school, and I think part of it was because, you know, I wrote in the why us, like stuff that any student could write, like not something really personal. So if you really research a school and you really think you like it, try to tour if you can, but like you want to find, like you really need to speak from the heart. Why do you want to go there? Why would you as a person, you knowing all the stuff that you do in high school, your values, who you are as a person, why do you think you would fit at that school? The application process, it's a game. It is a game. Like, and people think the test scores, the APs, they matter. Sometimes, yes, they do. But like, if your writing really is from here and you are being honest with yourself, I think that's what matters. And your grades, your extracurriculars will show for that. Like, even if you go test optional, like I went test optional for all my schools, all of them. And I got into, I got deferred from 2, and I got into like, I applied to 10 schools total. I got into 4. I got deferred from 2, and I had to withdraw from 3 after I got into one of my top schools, because that's a rule you kind of have to do. Like, if you withdraw from a school if you know you're not going to go there after getting to a really good one. But yeah, college process was stressful, like especially socially. I, you know, really, my friends were stressed out. I didn't get to see them as often. My parents were stressed out for me. It was stressful. Yes, I'm not gonna lie, but you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about what you want, what you don't want. 2 minutes. And I think that was the most valuable part that I took by from this fall. It went by so quickly. The one thing I regret looking back on it is that, like, don't sell yourself short. Like, I wish honestly that I did apply to more schools, but like I got into one of my top, so like it doesn't like actually fully matter in the long run. But like, I wish I didn't doubt myself so much, because like it's nice to know if you got into a place, you know what I mean? Like, it's a good feeling. And yes, it sucks when you don't get in. It does hurt. But it's just like, things happen for a reason. And when one door closes, another one opens, right? Like, and it is competitive when you see that other people from your school get in and you don't. But, and there's all that pressure, obviously. I know, like, coming from an immigrant family, my parents they are very supportive, and they want me to go to college wherever I want to. But like my grandparents, I love them, but like you know what I mean, it's different for other families, and they're like, oh well, the Ivy Leagues are the best, right? But like my dream school like is not an Ivy League, and that's a school I'm waiting on. I find out soon, but it's like, if I'm just gonna like sum up everything from this fall that I've learned, is that like it is stressful, but it's not as like scary as people make it seem. Once you start, like you have to push yourself to start. That's the main thing. You'll get the hang of it. You'll learn how to use the Common App. You'll learn how to use Score or QuestBridge or whatever. Like that's also kind of scary, like learning how to use those. It's so easy once you know, and like you get used to it. You get used to like writing supplementals, your activity section, spend time going through that, and your additional info. They read through that. I spent so long. I have so much stuff in there I could share with you guys.
Share it with me after, please.
Also, if colleges have any like extra additional, like is there anything else you want me to know, or like places where you can add portfolios or resumes or videos, even if you're not majoring in that, videos of you singing, dancing, acting, paintings. I submitted my art portfolio, my paintings, for like 3 colleges. I auditioned for just one school. I applied to one acting program. I am still kind of waiting from them as well, actually. But you know what I mean? And it's just about like, you don't have to know your major either. Like for some schools, yes, you have to apply to a specific school. I did a liberal arts like college or like school for each one because I want a broad education, but it's not, you don't have to know exactly what you want to do. A lot of schools ask for multiple majors, and I changed my mind so many times, right? Like I thought I wanted tiny schools, and I applied to mostly big schools or like medium-sized schools. So it will be okay. It will be okay. I'm now in my spring senior year, and I can tell you it will be okay. So yeah, that was a lot. I'm sorry, I like talked for so long.
No, you're so good. It was great listening to your story. Definitely touched me as a junior who's about to enter the college process. I'm definitely gonna be hitting you up with, you know.
Yes. Oh my God, both of you guys. Like I will share with you. I can read your essays. I will share with you any kind of info that you want. And like for both of you, like I will go more in depth. Also, wait, I'm trying to think if there's anything I said that I don't want in there. Like,
if there's anything, just text me afterwards.
Don't mention, like,
you can like send it to
I don't want to, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to mention, like, that I got into Yale on here. Like, I don't want the internet.
Yeah.
I don't, I mentioned Cheshire, I mentioned Dodd, that's fine, I think.
Yeah.
I mentioned my friend Julia, but I didn't say her last name, so I don't think that matters. I mentioned, and I think everything else I mentioned is like on the internet already, so like it's fine.
I'll send you the edited recording afterwards, and you can let me know if there's anything else you want me to.
Yeah, and if you guys have, I think both of you have my number.
I don't think I do.
No, you have. Well, you have it from if you have the social justice group chat.
Yeah.
But Jessie can also send you my number. But yeah, if there was like, I feel so bad. Like I feel like there was other questions that you probably wanted to ask me, but I just talked about.
You really answered like all the questions we had through your like amazing story, and I loved how in depth you went and how detailed it was. I think our listeners will definitely enjoy that.
There were like stuff that I definitely forgot to mention. Like that's the thing. I didn't even talk about everything that I did. Like,
I'm gonna be honest.
You can definitely talk to us about this one-on-one.
Yes, yeah. Oh, sorry, Terrell. What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna be honest. I think this was like one of my favorite episodes.
Oh my God,
like,
definitely one of our best guests.
Oh my God, I'm so honored. I
don't want anyone else to know.
Hi, Mom. This is the, remember I was supposed to have a Zoom on Monday. This is it. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. When I was like, Terrell, you know what I'm talking about? Are you gonna keep that?
Yeah.
You can if you want.
It's like it's natural.
And the internship, the attorney general, that's okay to mention, right?
I think that's okay to mention. I
Yeah,
don't think they.
I think we have
are
mentioned
excited.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
mentioned it a lot.
No, but like
But
I'm just so afraid of like somebody like people I know will watch this and they're like, oh, like, well, that's not you know what I mean? I just
yeah, I know what you
because
mean.
when I said that, when I was talking about the first play that I was in, or like the people in the model of the competition said this, they didn't say it word for word. I was just like paraphrasing, but anyways. Yeah, this was fun, guys. I've never gotten to, I'm like really happy that you guys like invited me
Oh,
on.
this was great.
I
Okay, I'm just gonna end the podcast really quickly. So
yeah,
thank
go
you
for it. Oh my
everyone
gosh.
for listening.
Oh wait.
Thank you
shoot.
everyone for listening to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait, do it
Grace,
again, do it again,
please
do it
end this
again.
out.
Do it again.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening to our podcast with today's very special guest, Leila. I hope you guys learned something, and if you're interested in performing arts, definitely listen to what Leila said. Just try it, go for it. And if you're already a performing arts student, I hope you learned a lot from her story. And yeah, thank you so much, Leila, for coming onto our podcast and sharing your amazing journey.
Yay, thank you
We
so
hope you had fun
much.
as well.
Yeah. Bye. Okay, cut.
Okay, so I didn't know that you actually like have to end the podcast like that. So all of that
No, you're
after
fine.
stuff, you can like cut that out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry
Okay.
about it.
okay. Oh, that was so. I love that. And you,
I'm glad
I
you-
think this is so cool that you guys like are doing this on Spotify, and like this will look good on college apps. Like, let me tell you, now that, like I'm into college and I've been added into group chats with other people who've applied, like colleges can tell, and like other students can tell when like you have something on your resume that you literally only did for college. Like, and then you can tell when you meet people. Like, I've met some of the people who have gotten into Yale, and like some of them are super cool and others are like, I mean, they're smart, but they have no depth as people. Like they, well, that sounds really mean, but like
No, I know what you mean.
we talk about our hobbies, and they talk about like stuff they did in high school, like math team or whatever, and then they start talking about their application. They were like, well, when I started doing this, I just started doing things that like I thought would look good on college applications. Like, don't do that, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, you know, going into the Attorney General's office, I was like, okay, I know this is gonna look good on college apps, and like that's partially why I did it, and like why my dad pushed me to do it, because I didn't really have anything other than like theater in the summer.
Yeah.
And like I have, you know what I mean? But trying something new is really important.
It was awesome. It was such a great experience.
And like, right, and I now I know, like I'm put political science as the major for most of my schools. So yeah, I think Jessie, don't stress, girl. Like, you've already done like 6 internships.
No, wait, have you seen my
No, Jessie,
Instagram?
I'm serious. You keep your connections. You have this podcast. You're on debate, CT Speech in Action. Like, I still get the Instagram notifications. Like, you know, so many different people. You did the Attorney General's office. You told me you did an internship last year too, as like after freshman year. Like, what? No, but like what, in a good way? And like, you still, I mean, you're going into your senior year summer, so like, yes, it's important to have something. It doesn't have to be an internship if you don't want it to be, but like, honestly,
I'm already locked in with my internships over the summer.
But if you do like summer camp, or so, if you like are a counselor to summer camp, or if you like have a fun summer job or something, colleges really like to see that too. Like, I think me saying that I worked at Ashley's, and I put this on my application too, like I used to work at a diner just for a couple months last year after Macbeth, that they like to see that you do other stuff. Like, they saw that I worked at a summer camp my first 2 years in the summer, along with like doing theater stuff, and like I like working with kids, like the thing with Iris, and like I like do, you know what I mean? It's just like showing that you do stuff for fun too, like recreate. Like, I put like, oh, I do intramural basketball, I do like recreational volleyball programs in the summer, like showing that you do fun stuff to still keep yourself like that's really important.
Okay.
Oh my god,
Just
I can't believe
look
that
at
like
your
now
friends.
I'm on the other side of the tunnel and now I'm giving other people advice.
Yeah.
Crazy.